The world of JoJo is bizarre. It's best to set that precedent now. But beneath the chaos of these colorful, deranged adventures is a pursuit of something more. A hope that they can seize a perfected form of life. That is the ideal of heaven that Dio, Pucci, and Valentine all voyage out to tame and control with their own hands, yet each fail to fully realize. For the Tyrant, it was control over all. For the Priest, it was a perfected control of fate. For the Patriot, it was control of the current world. As you can probably tell by their pursuits, heaven within JoJo isn't necessarily a destination like you would first imagine, but more of a reflection, of fear, of ego, of the deepest cracks in the soul. And the more these characters chase it, the more they fall apart. This isn't a pursuit to understand a mystical realm that promises peace and serenity. It's a pursuit to understand the depths of these three and the flaws of their warped ideologies. This is what heaven is in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Heaven is control over time, over death, over God. Dio doesn't just want to live forever. He wants his will to echo across time, unchallenged by those that are lesser than he. And this desire is echoed within his stand, the world, and its ability to stop time. Time is Dio's greatest enemy. It's what pushed him to toss aside his mortal body for that of a vampire. What pushed him to obtain the body of Jonathan, impatient and earning power through hard work and perseverance. For Dio, it's about taking the shortcuts available. Anything that puts him ahead is necessary for him to climb his way to the top. Time leads to decay, change, unpredictability. He must act quick and decisive, which becomes a double-edged sword in his efforts. Thus his stand attempted to compensate for his rashness by giving him a false form of his desired heaven, a moment where only he can move, only he can decide. A mere glimpse of the total domination he pursues over the universe itself. In a way, what Dio desires is to become the author of causality, the influence that propels the fate of all beings and matter, the root of the universe itself. It could be that the roots of this desire had been sown in his being in his younger years. Born to an abusive drunkard, poor and powerless to his fate in the slums. He despised the world's cruelty and class divisions, while he suffered to survive. Miles away, there were those living in luxury. Not a speck of dirt on their clothes, no scars from fending in the streets against the hungry. He believed himself better than the life he has. He had skill, intellect, will to power, and the legacy he chose to pursue was the creation of a fortress that shielded his weakness and inability, allowed for him to have dominion and complete agency over his life along with others. It's a twisted form of Nietzsche's Overman that transforms into authoritarian control. Dio's obsession to become a more perfect version of himself led him down a path where he actively rejected his bonds with others and the emotions that coursed through his soul, because he believed that to obtain a power at the scale he longed for, sacrifice was necessary. Thus he sacrificed his humanity, his closest allies, all only to latch on to his ego and fail to truly realize what matters in life. The bonds we create. The morals he put into place as an overman were held by principles of rejection of vulnerability. Despite the love he was shown by George Joestar, the brotherly bond built between him and Jonathan, he still at the end of the day could not accept these acts of kindness, likely too emotionally scarred from his father. He failed to trust others, who despite his unpleasant attitude towards them, accepted him for who he is. And in this distrust, he compensated for his fears by attempting to control their relationship and exploit their kindness, which he saw as a weakness, to obtain higher status and power. Yet fate did not favor these methods, and Dio always found himself at the shit end of the stick. He was never rewarded for his betrayals with anything more than a hollow sense of power that only stroked his ego, but never allowed him to expand past his clear limits. Always second to the sensitive and heroic JoJos that constantly stood in his way. He would later write a manifesto of his desires after his failure to best his closest friend Jonathan. Path to heaven, as he called it. But his heaven was never a trip to paradise. It was a kingdom of control over time, overall. An erasure of randomness that strips away free will. Becoming irrelevant was a key fear of Dio's. The minute he could no longer manipulate the world around him held the same weight as being sent back to his slum-ridden life as a poor, meaningless child. Despite his longing for an undying form, Dio seeks immortality more so in influence than in body. Thus, after his defeat at the hand of Jonathan's descendant, his plan passes hands, his corporeal form no longer of this earth. The path of heaven continues via Pucci, a grief-stricken priest who cannot accept the untimely nature of death in our fleeting lives. He and the vampire prince both dream of a world of straight lines, a creation of a world where Dio may exist unchallenged, where fear of death is irrelevant because they rule time. Dio wishes to replace the concept of God through the works of his disciple, yet his quest becomes a cautionary tale. The idea he represented survives longer than his body. His soul may never see his heaven. He died before reaching the goalpost, yet his legacy continues through Pucci. True happiness is in accepting the known future. We fear death because we don't know when it will come. We feel blindsided by life, becoming lost in regret, doubt, pain, because we never know what awaits around each corner. With his past pushing him to find dissonance with his religious upbringing, Pucci began to reform Catholicism to the teachings of his new messiah, Dio in the path to heaven, latching onto this idea that he can bring about a world free from what he sees as the root of human misery, that being the fact fate is unpredictable. Pucci set out to make all that was unknown known, for at least if something was bound to be painful, they could emotionally prepare prior to. He's a priest who wants peace. His heaven would allow for mankind to make peace with their futures. No uncertainty, no surprise, no grief. In Pucci's mind, knowledge is mercy, destiny is comfort. But if the future is fixed as Pucci intends to make it, then nothing you do matters. There is no agency present in your life. Whether you aim for the sky or rot on the ground, there is nothing you can do to change the destiny that you are now privy of knowing. For that is the way he wants it. The question arises, what is the point of continuing onwards when your book already has its ending? Knowledge can be a gift, but it can also become a curse. While you may see it as a clarity on life and its set path, he's creating a type of psychological slavery, a cage where you're free to walk upon the destiny you've been distributed. I've spoken upon it before, Nietzsche's idea of eternal recurrence. This heaven Pucci intends to create is much like a warped and corrupted version of it. The priest is the messenger that's come to tell you, you must live your life as it was, exactly the same. Yet Pucci's heaven adds the twist of being reborn with complete knowledge of what will happen, with strings that pull you down that set path. Change and alteration are not allowed. It's like holding someone upon train tracks as the whistle gets closer and the smoke of its stacks becomes visible. You are not allowed to change destiny. Only he gets that luxury. Despite the alternations, the same question becomes present to those affected by Pucci's heaven. Would you be able to accept this life again? Or would you reject the very notion of living this life? For Pucci, that added twist of knowing the route from birth to death provides the comfort he believes he needs to go through his life. Yet he's twisted not just the rules, but the very point of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence in the first place. The acceptance of life's chaos, affirming its beauty despite the struggles found within it. It's not about escaping the unknown and cruel. It's about living beside it, as it allows us to appreciate the good. Because of our limited knowledge of life and what will happen, we're forced to adapt to change, learn to be okay with discomfort and pain. Growth happens within the unknown Pucci fears. Freedom includes the freedom to fail, and love, sacrifice, and hope depend on not knowing what will come next. That is why we hold those three ideas so close to our hearts. To deprive humanity of the unknown is to take away a vital part of our existence. While Pucci may think himself to be a savior, he's nothing more than a man with warped ideologies, suffering to accept the mistakes and loss of his past. In trying to give the world peace, Pucci takes away its freedom, kills and damns the lives of many, labeling these deaths as rebirths to soothe his mind. His plan relies on every known being experiencing their timeline of life, being reborn in the new universe with the knowledge of their entire existence. This mass death from accelerating the universe is seen as a necessary evil, a stepping stone for the heaven to be created in his and Dio's image. The pair's motivations overlap in bringing about a world that is predictable. They both share the same fear of opening up themselves to be hurt by loss or by others. It's ironic. Dio spent his whole life fighting against his destiny as a slum child, rebelling against God, fate, even his adopted bloodline. Yet the heaven he entrusted Pucci with creating relies on destiny. Only what's key is it's forced upon everyone else besides him. Dio wants a world where he is free to act while no one else is. If he knows what each and every person will do, he cannot be harmed emotionally. His ego cannot be ruffled. It's perfect for a person afraid of being himself and fear of being taken advantage of, thus his obsession with becoming more than God, yet another he does not trust, which is where the ideas of Spinoza come into play. Baruch Spinoza, a 17th century philosopher, coined with saying the phrase, God is not a person. God is the universe itself. This implies that the deities people create are all just ways of trying to explain what is before us each and every day. The idea of God is everything that exists, nature itself, the organisms that make it up. This is the type of being Dio wishes to become. Not a figurehead of a religion, but one with the universe and all its unbound knowledge. He's a greedy bastard, and we already know why he longs for such a position that shields his true self. But while Pucci and Dio's plot that true happiness is accepting the known future echoes the ideals of Spinoza, that freedom is reached through understanding the necessity of the forces that shape you, Pucci aims to force others into accepting his methods without cause, rather than leading people through reason towards this peace of mind. While both parties agree that everything that exists, every event, thought, atom, is bound by a fate to respond and act in specific ways and patterns, nothing truly free to act against the flow of destiny. One aims to bring about understanding, while another forces blind submission. Pucci turns Spinoza's peaceful determinism into cosmic fascism, filtered through his own Christian dogma. Despite his conquest to defy the universe itself and create a new way of life in his self-deemed heaven, Pucci finds it difficult to let go of his religious upbringing. The tragic twist of his story is that Pucci's violent enforcement contradicts his peaceful ideals he latches onto from the teachings of Christ. Can you still call it heaven if it's built on mass death and total control? It seems a side effect of Pucci's dimensional tampering created a Shaker Cup collection celebrating the first 6 parts of the Bizarre Adventure we've watched for over a decade. There's a variety of designs from Jonathan and Dio, Joseph and Caesar, to Jotaro, Josuke, Giorno, and Jolene. GamerSupps has just released this collection today, May 23rd, so if you want one I would jump on it as soon as possible because these collectibles almost always sell out. And to pair with these shakers is a new flavor. It's got like a fruity tang to it. That's pretty good. Now this flavor is both available in a caffeine and a non-caffeinated version, depending what you enjoy. So if you're looking to pick up any of these JoJo collaboration items, or if you're interested in picking up anything GamerSupps has to offer, be sure to use the code SOCKSENSEI at checkout for 10% off your entire order. With that said, it looks like we've arrived to the new timeline, just in time to bet on the grandest race of the 1890s, Steel Ball Run. The United States must win. That is all. This ideology threatens the very stability of mankind. It hides itself behind the shadow of patriotism, slowly seeding more extreme, radical ways of thought. It turns a country against the world, feeding them lies disguised as truth, xenophobia cosplaying as a united nation. That ideology is none other than nationalism, a plague that latches onto those that fear, insisting they must be loyal to the state and its decisions, rather than to the human race. Ignore the suffering of other nations, for only the people within your borders truly matter. There is no unified species. We are separate. We are divided. It's no coincidence that Funny Valentine leads the United States under this ideology. It's one that's plagued the country since its inception. This idea we are different, we are exceptional. We have a destiny to lead the world morally, politically, and economically. It justified manifest destiny, taking land from natives to the area for our own gain. Justified Cold War interventions in countries that would rather fight their own battles than be puppeteered on behalf of a bickerman between the Soviets and Americans. The United States used this exceptionalism to justify their colonialism in seizing Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam, the Philippines, Panama, Cuba, Haiti, Afghanistan, Iraq, Mexico, the Dominican. Funny Valentine isn't just a fictional character. He's an interpretation of a very real, very dangerous movement still present in the States to this day that promotes violent intervention and occupation for a set of hit-or-miss ideals. One must not forget they are a human first and a citizen second. Valentine's heaven is built for a nation which is where he drifts from the other two heavens we've seen pursued thus far. He believes in the United States' right to total domination over the world. Equality would only mean America is one amongst many, when to him, it is of the utmost importance they stand far superior. The Holy Corpse becomes his vessel to win over more people, blending religion with politics, adding the fear of punishment and rejection of reason that faith can breed. We've seen it in ancient monarchies, in the Middle East, in Zionist and evangelical movements which promote a land or nationhood as God's will. He wants the US to be just that, the chosen land of God, the one nation that resides under God. It allows him to justify exclusion, conquest, and moral superiority. God is on their side. He approves of all their actions. His heaven becomes a place for only the chosen, his people, a throne for the strongest to sit, a throne he must protect by all means necessary, whatever the cost, be it thousands of lives, infinite versions of people. It's all to protect their future as number one. For if they are not number one, then they are nothing. He wholeheartedly believes that what he does is noble, that the ends justify the erasure of souls. It's utilitarianism held up on stilts, one that rejects the belief that all life is equal, replaced with the core ideal that all American life is equal to none. Thus, Valentine believes sacrificing others' selves is moral if it leads to peace in his world. He doesn't want universal salvation. He wants salvation exclusively for his country. His heaven becomes a contradiction that the real United States represents. Peace built upon war. A utopia pursued through infinite genocide. This shortcut to a seat at the top of the hill, only a detour, promoting a cycle of violence that may never end. There will never be a utopia. Valentine is flawed because he cherry picks who his values apply to, chooses to reject his fellow man because they walk upon different soil. It's ironic. In his quest for heaven, he became everything he thought he opposed. The Tyrant. Everyone seeks heaven, but they do so with flawed hearts. There's a certain irony in Pucci's sentiment, as he was one of the seekers misguided. All three of these antagonists seek heaven for their own reasons, with their own methods, each flawed in their own ways, motivated down this path due to their own experiences that shaped them. Dio's youth turned him into a man who struggled to be vulnerable, leading to him always seeking to survive by gaining more status and power, using people as stepping stones, not as allies along the long road of life. He sought heaven by attempting to make his ego eternal. Pucci found anxiety and existential dread in the unpredictability in life's roads, leading him down a path that sought complete knowledge of each crack, bump, and turn. He became blinded to devotion to the heaven plan, acting as if he alone was justified in his pursuits of heaven, as he was divinely guided by his Messiah. What he saw as compassion, by eliminating the unknown for the people, was only forced submission to his ideology. Pucci sought a universal fate for all man. Valentine saw the horrors mankind was capable of as a prisoner of war, leading to his very apathetic mindset towards other nations. He longed for dominance to ensure what he experienced would never again happen to the people of his nation. He became an extremist, believing any amount of death, destruction, and violence was morally justified if it meant sealing America's spot at the top of the food chain. Valentine sought ideological purity. These three don't truly seek heaven. What they seek is freedom, self-determination, and connection. These heavens become a mirror for their souls. The more they chase it, the more it exposes their flaws. The JoJo verse does not reward control. Each and every one of them inevitably fails to actualize their heavens. Good will always prevail. It may be moral optimism, yet over history, justice always brought the downfall of the corrupt and vile. This world rewards connection to other beings. The Joestars never chase after self-interest disguised as heaven. They chase after freedom, growth, legacy, and when they die, they do so to give life to others, passing down their love for life and people, giving their next of kin the ability to stand up to the powers that intend to destroy what they stand for. Heaven isn't the power to rewrite the universe in one's image. It's not found in control, cosmic knowledge, or patriotism. It's found in the strength to accept life as it is. JoJo suggests the pursuit of heaven reveals more about what people fear than what they truly want. These three fear chaos, death, irrelevance, and try to overwrite the world to avoid it. Yet the Joestars confront that fear and move through it, evolving into something more grounded and human. Heaven was never something to take. It's a holy grail that's been chased over millennia, yet never reached. Because heaven may not be a place for us to reach at all. It may just be a state of being to find and make peace with here on this earth.